welcome to the Devil's Spirit podcast. You are here with myself, Rudy, and Glenn. Glenn, what's the crack? How's it going?
Yeah, good man. Just sitting here looking out the window. It's pouring rain out there. It's mad. Some storm or something came in last night. I was told. I woke up this morning already. Yeah, and there was a tree outside the house. And the other morning I walked out and there was all this green stuff all over the car. It's
Leaves.
horrible sticky stuff. No, it's this horrible sticky stuff. And it gets into window wipers and all. And when you put them on and all, even when you wash the car, it gets into the window wipers. So when you put the window wipers on, it makes your windows all sticky. So I moved the car down a couple of yards. And this morning when I got up, it was covered in it again. Because wherever way the wind was blowing and all this mad storm that was last night, my car was in bits. I got mad. It's the sort of stuff that gets into your car and you don't clean it straight away and it ingrains itself into the colour and all.
Sounds like a conspiracy theory to me now, to be honest.
It's mad, but your woman next door to me and all, she's trying to park where I'm parking and all. It's an ongoing battle here, Roddy. It's a battle of wits. I'm winning at the moment because I got in there tonight.
Yeah, well, here, hopefully
that
goes well for you, Glenn. But listen, as I always say, what do I say?
Yeah, there's no flip-flopping around here.
Yeah.
We get straight to the point.
That's it, man. So no more talking of leaves. Let's get straight into this. So, just some news of the week. We saw David Beckham enter the Hall of Fame. He was the first of the class of 92 to enter the Hall of Fame. Then I think he had 6 Premier League titles. Correct me if I'm wrong there. And an amazing career.
Yeah, come here, one of the best. We could do with a player like him now, to be honest with you, on that right-hand side. The balls he used to whip in. You take his stuff for granted, you did, Roddy. Honestly, growing up watching United back in the day, we were blessed. You know what I mean? It's not even just the balls that he used to whip in and the free kicks he scored. His walk right up and down that line was unbelievable. So I'm delighted that he got in. So we'll just wait on the rest of the boys to get in as well. Just saying the last time you were on, you might as well have just put a whole treble winning team into that straight away. You know what I would say is it's mad the way that Premier League Hall of Fame is working. Look, every day someone seems to be getting inducted into it, which is great. But I'd like to see them do it. If they're gonna have a Premier League Hall of Fame, do it properly. Put it into a big venue, have to come out on a stage and give a speech, have them introduced by a manager or the next player, someone they like in the media, give them a ring and all. Let's do it properly. Do you know what I mean?
Little announcement, yeah. We want a bit more than that, don't we? Especially if it's a lot of Reiki and other players getting in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
But actually, Glenn, on that, we could do with David Beckham there, and we could do with Harry Kane. David Beckham whipping in the balls to Harry Kane there. That's some of the news that's been coming up recently is Harry Kane's potential transfer to Manchester United. And that's a title I like, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, big news this week, Roddy, when it came out that he wants to leave. Obviously, he's looking and he's saying to himself, I'm not getting any younger, I need to win trophies. We're going to be linked with him no matter what, even if we're not in for him. Look what Solskjaer said the other day. He was asked about it. Were we in for Kane, even though Cavani signed a new deal and all? And he was like, yeah, well, didn't say yeah, but he was basically saying we're looking to improve the squad. And, we've had great strikers over the years, which we have. So it'd be nice to see that. Some people are saying 150 million's getting thrown around by Daniel Levy. Is it too much? I don't think it is for Harry Kane, to be honest with you. He's guaranteed to score your goals. I don't care what anyone says. He's been banging them in for the last 7 seasons, really. I remember when he burst onto the scene for Spurs, and everyone was saying he was going to be a one-season wonder, but he's done unbelievable for them. And you'd have to say, where would Spurs be without Harry Kane? But
and that partnership he has with Son is unbelievable, to be honest. The two of them, the work rate out of the two of them.
Yeah. Exactly. He's changed his game up, Roddy. He's changed his game up from what he started out with Spurs. That way we've seen him under Mourinho, especially drop into that number 10 position and start, giving, assisting people, start laying the ball off for other people to score and all. Shows you what type of player he is. He can sort of do it all. You look at him this season, he's 35 goal involvements in 34 games. That's just in the Premier League. That's an unbelievable statistic, that is. My only issue would probably be that it's us and Man City that's being linked with him. Yeah. And the age that Harry Kane's at, 27, 28, obviously he wants to leave Spurs to win trophies. You look at Man City under Pep and you look at some of the players like, say, Bernardo Silva, who's there since 2018, hasn't not won a trophy since he's been at Man City. He's always won something. If you're Harry Kane, you're saying, I want to leave to go to a team to win something, why not go to Man City? And if he did, they'd be unstoppable. And you look at us, I think he was probably a little bit younger, 22, 23, might come to us because of the tradition of the club and the history. Well, I hope I'm wrong. That's just the way I say it. If you want to be leaving Spurs, you want to be going somewhere where you're going to win trophies straight away. And Man City are sort of nailed on to be winning things.
But would you say Man City are known for paying such a high price tag?
Well, they haven't bought anyone over 100 million.
Yeah, and I know Pep said, I think he said in an interview that if it was the case, they would, but it would have to be an exceptional case.
Yeah, he came out and he was saying that 100 million is probably too much for them, which is laughable because they're owned by a country basically. But they're billionaires. But what I'm saying is, I think he would be someone that Pep would want because he's English. You know what I mean? He likes to get them English players in. He's John Stones in there as well. He's Phil Foden, who's doing great at the moment. So I think Harry Kane would be a fit for them. The only thing is games in every season that I've seen him playing. But I mean, as I said, his goal.
He makes up for it, yeah.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't really miss out.
Now the only other thing there is the contract he's in. So I think he's 3 years into a 6-year contract. So it's a question: will Levy let him go? Spurs obviously don't want to just pack it in. Like you lose Harry Kane, you could lose Son. Maybe you're losing other few names in there, Glenn. Like, do you reckon they'll let him go? Or
I don't know, Roddy. I think that there might have been something in place when he signed that deal that said that, look, if we can't get over the line and win something, that you might have to let me leave. I'm not saying it was a clause in the contract. Maybe it was just a shake of the hand sort of thing. What might swing the deal for Spurs is if they get players plus cash. So, I'm saying 150 million because that's getting being knocked around. But, if you say 90 million plus a player. So, in our case, what's getting sent around is, or what's going around is probably Martial and Lingard.
Lingard?
Yeah, that's what I've read. Like, I mean, you never know how true these things are.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you'd be able to get rid of Lingard and Martial for Harry Kane. I just don't, because I think no matter what, Martial is worth at least 50 million no matter what. Do you know what I mean? And what would Lingard be worth with what he's doing with West Ham? Is definitely not worth under 30 million anyway. So, I mean, 80 million you're looking at for both of them players, plus 80 or 90 million. You have to give.
I reckon we throw in Jones as well.
Get him out, man. Send him out with the Roma, man. That's what I'm saying.
I'm joking. But you said 90 million there, and I suppose that's what I read was the highest price tag United would pay for Harry Kane. So, and then we're looking at Rice as well, was priced at 100 million. So it'd be interesting to see, do we push to that amount, Glenn? But there's also other players in the mix. Like we said, Sancho, and we've talked about Sancho before, but there's also Danny Ings there for Southampton, who done quite well. He had an injury this year. I think it affected him. Maybe it was COVID as well. I don't know the circumstances. But would you be happy to see him come in maybe instead of Harry Kane? That was an option.
Well, look, if you're putting Danny Ings and Harry Kane in the same sentence, no, you'd rather Harry Kane. But I think that this one is more suitable for us. And what I mean by that is that Cavani's at the bench signed to a new deal. We have Greenwood there, we have Rashford there. Maybe someone like Danny Ings that you could get in for cheap, really. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be paying anything over 40 million for Danny Ings. Do you know what I mean? He is English. He won't get the job done. The only problem is he's had 2 very bad knee injuries. But again, Roddy, he's done all right. He played 28 games this season, 16 goal involvements. Last season, 24 goal involvements in 38 games. So he's not a bad player. But then again, you have that Liverpool link as well. And I mean, if we just came out and said, look, we're not interested in Harry Kane, we can't afford him, and we don't want to give him the wages that he probably would demand, and then you'd probably just turn around and say, yeah, look, we'll take Danny Ings as a player that could probably just be in and around the squad. But if we're looking to push on and challenge properly for the Premier League, I don't think Danny Ings will be enough. You know what I mean? This season is probably a signal of intent of what we want to do in the transfer market when it comes to it. I mean, even though Cavani's doing very well, it'd look mad for us to be signing a 34-year-old to a contract extension and then Man City getting Harry Kane. Which is a 4 or 5 year deal. Like you said,
what's Harry Kane on? He's on 35, Ings is on 12 this year.
35 goal involvements for Harry
Yeah.
Kane in 34 games, and then Ings is 16 goal involvements in 28. So I mean, them numbers are good from Ings. They're not bad. He's playing a Southampton team that started off this season good. They've done all right, and then they've dropped off really. And I remember they went to Old Trafford this year and we whacked them 9-0. So, and I know you were saying that he's been out there and injured, but them numbers are not bad. I don't think he should be discarded straight away. It depends on what way you're looking at him in the squad. If we're bringing him in to say, listen, he's going to be starting in front for us every game to win the title, I don't know. You know what I mean? But if he's brought in as a squad player that's going to put a little bit of pressure on the likes of Greenwood and Cavani for that number 9 position, grand. But I don't think he could turn around and say, yeah, look, we're happy to have Danny Ings in. He's the one that's going to carry us to the title. I don't think fans would believe that or look at that as a good thing. I've been reading a couple of things online from fans that are saying, you know, it's a disgrace that we're linked with Danny Ings when, you know, as we said, that Kane going to Man City and all, and the fact that Haaland's still out there for whatever he's going for, well over 100 million, and we're going for Ings. It doesn't really signal the intent from the club, really. But
be winning trophies, No, I get you there. And I suppose my view on Ings would be, I think he'd be a very good asset. I don't think he would improve the team as much as if we got a quality player in centre mid or central defence. Because I think we are having that issue of getting the ball up the pitch. And if you want Ings to score goals, you need someone to give quality balls in. Like Cavani, when he gets the ball in a good spot, he'll smash it home, like that goal the other night. And I think Ings needs that as well. Like, and he gets it there with Ward-Prowse and stuff, you know, and Adams.
But Roddy, as I said, Ings played for Liverpool, had terrible luck. You know, that way he had two, I think they were ACL injuries, so he had him out for the whole season. He only got back from one, and then the other one went. Or maybe it was the same. I'm not too sure, but I know they were two horrific injuries to his knee. So Liverpool let him go. The fact is that, you know, when Liverpool signed him from Burnley, you know, Liverpool, you couldn't turn around and say that Liverpool was saying, yeah, we're going to challenge for the title because we're signing Danny Ings. That's the way I look at it. And I'd like to think that at the time, and now our squad's in a much better position than Liverpool's squad was when they brought me in. So I don't know why we'd be looking at him to say, yeah, we're going to challenge for the title with him in there again as a starter all the time. Squad player, no problem, but it depends on what Southampton wants from him. They're gonna want as much as they can get from him, because obviously he's the top scorer. But I wouldn't discard him the way some fans are saying, look, no, don't want him, he's not good enough for now. Because remember, you know, you had when Fergie was there, you had him bring in the likes of Michael Owen and all that. You know what I mean? Who at the time in 2010 he was past it, even if he did score the last minute winner against City. Do you know? So we have had that in recent history where we've brought strikers in that, you know, were just used for squad players.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose looking around the other parts of the pitch, then we're looking at maybe the other end of De Gea. That whole situation, and I suppose our biggest match now is the Europa League final, and I personally think that De Gea is going to start, and I would hope that's the case as well, because I think performance lately has been very good. We talked about that before, but what do you think yourself? Should Hendo see a chance of getting in there into the squad?
I'm reading the Manchester Evening News that, you know, De Gea is set to start, which I think is right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, as I said, I know both of them have played in the Europa League this season, but I just look at that Roma game and I think, you know what I mean, we're out De Gea that night, we were out. And if you think about it, we haven't really discovered our form since that game. You know what I mean? That sort of took the wind out of your sails. So you can only imagine if we didn't go through that night, what the effect would have been around the whole team. I've said it before, I'm not that big of a Henderson fan. Not to say that I won't be, or that he can't get to the level. Personally, right now, I can't see it happening. I said it the radio the other day. You know, there's a lot of things coming out about other clubs being interested in him. People are saying that he's at an age where he wants to be playing regular football and all, and that's grand. But you know, what gives his party or his representatives the right to be saying, you know what I mean, he wants to be starting as number one for United. And as I said, you can say that, and that's great, but after a while when you hear it, you know, more times than you should be hearing it, then you're like, you know, there's something else behind this. And I don't think he's the one to take us forward to the title. I can't see De Gea leaving United either. That's the problem we have, Roddy. Even though De Gea hasn't been that good, I think in the last couple of games he's been back to some sort, like, wouldn't say his best, but as we said, the Roma game, you look at the Leicester game, he made a good save against Iniacho, against Fulham. He made a good save by Lookman and then the rebound by Carvalho. So he's sort of gradually getting that form back. Europa League final, I'd want them starting. I'd feel comfortable with him. You know what I mean? But the problem is for me, Roddy, is that we keep switching around goalkeepers. The back four seems to be all over the place with the centre back partnership. So, you know, you need someone in there that's going to be able to maybe organise and know that they're going to be coming under a lot of pressure. And I know a lot of people say that, hey, it doesn't really organise. They're probably right, but he'd probably be used to facing more chances and shots than Henderson would at that level. I know Henderson played for Sheffield United, so people would say, oh, well, he would have been, you know, took them out of trouble. They've been relegated this year. He hasn't been part of that. Is that something got to do with it? But I just think there's a lot of pressure on United going into the Europa League final, and I think, you know, you always go with experience in positions like your goalkeeper.
Yeah, and you're right there. It is experience, and that's what's going to put him in the forefront, I think. He's played in the Champions League, he's playing the Europa League. You don't want Henderson in there for his first European final with the back four that we have, with Maguire missing. I personally wouldn't feel comfortable with it at all. You want the hay in there who can make that spectacular save when he needs to, and not be pulling off some fucking extravagant dive for the cameras, you know.
It shows you, Rory, that the way he was taken out of the team, Henderson was taken out of the team for the Fulham game after being put in as basically, no, Ollie didn't come out and say he's the new number one or whatever. We're starting 9 of the last 10 Premier League games, and then being taken out after that Liverpool game. Just showed me that I don't think Ollie is too convinced on Henderson either. You know what I mean? I think he was just putting him in there because he was sort of coming under a little bit of pressure, maybe from the player knocking on his door, which is not a bad thing. As I said, as representatives, you know, I think they've been, you know, on Ollie an awful lot this season. I think there's been stuff coming out that they're not really happy with, to be honest with you, especially from a player that came back from loan from Sheffield United. But I think De Gea being put back in showed me that when it comes to it, De Gea is still number one. And at the end of the day, you can't have a goalkeeper on 350 grand a week sitting on the bench. And I don't see De Gea going and taking less wages when you're getting where else is he going to get 350 grand a week? It just doesn't happen.
You know? Yeah, you're right. So you said do you reckon it's the end for Hendo?
No, I don't. But that's, I suppose, look, that'd probably be up to the player. If he's not happy sitting on the bench, maybe if he went back out on loan or something. But again, when it comes to the goalkeeping position, where you can go out on loan all you want, who's going to take him in the top 4 so we can actually see what he's about? You know what I mean? Man City have the goalkeeper covered. Liverpool never, you know what I mean? Spurs, Lloris is there, he's a stalwart there, even though I don't think he's been as great as he used to be. So you need him going out to teams that are going to give him the experience that's required to play for us. And I don't really think that he's proven too much over the last while that he's capable of representing United in the big games. That's the truth. I know, like, I'll go back to the City game when we beat them. At the Etihad, and you know, he threw the ball out to Luke Shaw and all, which was great. And he got loads of praise for that. It was Schmeichel-esque and all, and that's what we need. And would David De Gea do that and all? And probably not, but that in itself is not enough. And I look at Henderson's well, and I look at his footwork. He's not too comfortable with the ball at his feet. He's really not. Anytime I look at him with the ball at his feet, he looks clumsy. Looks like the ball stuck under his feet all the time. And when you get them strikers and you come up against these teams that are clever and pressure high up the pitch and close you down quickly, that'll come back to you. And I don't want to bring it up again, but that Liverpool goal, the Salah goal, I can't forgive that, really. That's playing on my mind a lot when I think of the situation. You cannot turn your back on the ball. You just can't do that. He did. Yeah. And I think that comes into him when Ollie left him out of the team. I just think when De Gea was left out, when De Gea was making mistakes, Ollie stuck with him for a while, rightly or wrongly. He stuck with him for a long time. Henderson has a bad game, and Ollie takes him out straight away. That shows me that De Gea is the number one goalkeeper. And in the games that it was in, because you wanted to get over that line against Fulham, you wanted to put in He wanted to get a win in the last home game of the season with the fans back in there. Obviously, he didn't think that Henderson was up to the job. No matter what he says, you don't start him. You're not thinking, I don't want to say good enough, but just hadn't got faith in him that day. And whether he comes back in against Wolves or not, I don't know. But
that's going to be next question. But before we get into that Wolves game, I suppose we've always said it with this keeper situation, it's consistency, and we don't know what's going on. So you can only think what are they thinking? What's their place in the team? But next year, we're looking for a more solid team, Glenn, and I think consistency in players' choices and players knowing their position in the team, and not like maybe they don't have to read it in the media, but maybe there's not headlines about who's the number one goalkeeper, who's going to take the penalty kicks. Remember that was earlier on the year. I thought that was a disaster. There just needs to be consistency and a bit, as we said before, responsibility on the pitch and off the pitch. And I personally think, Ollie, that's kind of where some of his flaws come in. It's that inexperience of how to deal with the players. Now, obviously, we're not in the dressing room. We don't know what goes on. But next year, if Ollie's going to perform as a manager, and he has performed quite well, I think he's going to take it to the next level. We need to see him stand up, put his chest up, and the decisions are solid. No players making choices on the pitch at a crunch moment. You know what I mean?
Look, any good squad, Roddy, you need a good spine to your team. Goalkeeper, your centre backs, centre midfielders, strikers. That shouldn't really change that much through a season unless it has to through injuries. So we've seen it this year with Lindelof and Maguire. They've been, the number one starters at centre back. Yeah. You look at McFred, they've been, the two holding really, you know what I mean, especially in the last couple of months. And then you look up top where we've chopped and changed it for a while, but now it looks like Cavani started making that position his own. But next season you'd need your goalkeeper to be there as your number one established. You know what I mean? Make sure that he's in form and that he's not messing things up as much as we've seen over the last while. And then you'd need your centre back partnership. We've seen it this year. This year. We've seen it over the last couple of games with Maguire not playing. It's a huge miss. And I know loads of people that have criticised Maguire, but we've really seen how much we actually miss him on the pitch.
Big time.
And sorry,
you just said big time.
Yeah, big time. And you're looking, you're saying, Ollie's trying to bring that spine and keep that spine sort of, but you're not going to get anywhere when you have the likes of, in my opinion, Lindelof there, who looks weak all the time. You know what I mean? He's not up to the physical challenge of the game at all. He'd just be beaten in the air anytime he goes up for it. Knocked off the ball by players like Salah and all. I know Salah's tough and he's a nice physique on him and all for a footballer, but if you're a centre back, you can't be getting pushed off by players that's smaller than you and all that. And you look then at the midfield positions again, McFred and all, trying to give us that little bit of stability, but quality wise, not good enough. And they're things we have to improve on. We bring in better players in, or trying to make the players that we have better. But I just don't think.
I think we're going past
especially is going to be anything. Yeah, I don't think Fred. You can improve on that. And I was, when you're talking to Ray was saying to me, Fred didn't start off as a defensive midfielder. He was playing further up the pitch for Shakhtar. And he's right, he was, but I keep saying to myself, what was he doing playing further up the pitch? Because he can't pass the ball. You know what I mean? What was he doing playing up there? You know
back to the Maguire thing there, Glenn. I think Maguire being injured has showed Lindelof's weaknesses. And I think it's evident now that Maguire was carrying Lindelof a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe at the start of the season, I saw Maguire as being a bit of the weaker link, not in comparison to Lindelof, but I didn't think he was good enough really for United, probably you could say, at some points. But now that he's gone, you can see what he's about and what he's bringing to the team, even though he's quite quiet as a player.
So I think Rory at the beginning of the season, I don't think he was at his best. And you go to the Everton game where it was 3-3 and they scored in last minute equaliser, and you look at Maguire trying to play offside even though he can see across the line. Things like that have to be taken out of his game. He has to learn that, and I think he did. And I think before he got injured, he was playing consistent for us. Do you know that way? And yeah, I think he's carried Lindelof, and I think Lindelof's been shown up by Maguire not being there, just in terms of Lindelof can only play on the right hand side of the centre back partnership. He can't play on the left hand side. Saying that against Liverpool, and that's why you had Tim and Davey coming in the other day, because Bally can't play on that left hand side either. do you know what I mean? Like, so we're stuck. We centre backs there that are not good enough, and I'm not going to criticise Bally because I think he is good. I like him.
But good enough in that position.
Do you know what I mean? You need someone alongside him to get him through the game. He wouldn't be one of them to, bring himself or the likes of Lindelof through. And as I said, I think look back at that Fulham game and on, there's a couple of things that happened in the way. I just look, Lindelof, what are you doing, man? You know what I mean? It's just when your man Carvalho went through and got out and all, you're looking, you're saying, Jesus Christ, because it's just like you just cut across Lindelof and Lindelof just sort of stopped. Yeah. You're looking, you're saying, Jesus Christ, like you
take him out, get the yellow.
Yeah, because Roddy, I keep thinking, saying to myself, I'm a bit worried. Like, just is the position we're in now second? We're guaranteed second, so it's a decent season for us. There's progress from third to second, great. But is it a false position just because of the season that was in it? We're not going to get the chance to be up there if we're not consistent enough next season. And we have to have solid, quality players in there that you can rely on. You know what I mean? And I think Lindelof this season in the Europa League has been very good, Roddy. But I think that's his level. We're going into the Champions League next season. We didn't get out of the groups this year, so you'd be hoping there's the progress there for that. I don't think we'll go on and win it. Well, I know we won't, you know what I mean? But you're looking, you're saying, well, progress would be to get out of the group stages and then see what you're made of, and you get to them knockout stages, and Lindelof wouldn't be one that you'd back to, get you out of a hole in big, huge games like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you need players who will keep clean sheets against the big teams, or who will score against the big teams. And what we're talking about there is really diversity in quality players. We mentioned Rashford going out to the right, doesn't like it, doesn't perform there. Lindelof on the left, centre back, doesn't like it, doesn't perform there. You need players who can diversify and move positions. But I suppose, second place there, Glenn. It's great that we've got it, confirmed it. But then going into this Wolves game, do we need to even perform? What's this Wolves game to us now coming up?
Yeah, look, you want to win every game, Rory. That's what they'd be setting out to do. But second place is consolidated, no problem. So maybe we want to just who does he start, that way, because the Europa League final is on Wednesday. So you're playing Sunday and then Wednesday. So I reckon he's just going to put out a team similar to what we've seen against Leicester. Loads of changes and all, which is not a bad thing, you know what I mean? Because it gives the players like Ahmed and Elanga and all who started that game another opportunity maybe to show what they can do. Mata maybe getting in there as well, Matic as well. Players like that you probably won't see in the Europa League final. That way. I think our bigger players. I know it didn't work in the run up there with the Leicester, Liverpool, Fulham games. It didn't seem to work when we rested players, but I can't see us risking the likes of Pogba and Bruno in a game that virtually means nothing in the Premier League last game of the season when we've an important game coming up in the Europa League, because no matter what, it's a huge game for Ollie and some of the players that haven't won at United so far. So I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but we'd be expecting changes.
So you're thinking there's going to be a bit of resting going on, because I was kind of hoping the opposite, Glenn, because if you look at Villarreal's results there, I mean, they're on good form and they're smashing in a few goals. You know what I mean? Now, they have Real Madrid coming up in the game before United, which is a big game for them. They're not doing great.
Where are they in the league, Roddy? Do you know where Villarreal in the league? Yeah.
Yeah, they're seventh, so I'm guessing that's just outside Europa League in the Spanish league, isn't it? Look, so they'll have to be gunning for this game, because if it is their only opportunity coming into.
Well, Rory, the thing is, if you win the Europa League, you get the Champions League.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pretend like I know too much against Villarreal, because I don't. But I'd be thinking, they'll be resting their players against Real Madrid, because they're thinking we're not going to get Champions League football with our league form. You know what I mean? We're in seventh, so we'll rest players up and. they'll be going for it. They have a manager there at Emery this is his 5th final. He won 3 on the bounce with Sevilla a couple of years ago. He lost the final against Chelsea when he was Arsenal manager. But we all know what that Arsenal team are like, you know what I mean? They're bottlers anyway. It doesn't matter who's in there, you know what I mean? I think he was probably a bit harshly treated because look at them now. They're trying to qualify for that new Europa Conference League and all. It's an absolute joke. Well, he knows how to win that competition, Roddy. And, you know, it's someone like that, it probably worry me a little bit because he's an act of winning the competition, and he probably have a way of sussing out Ollie because he sussed out Arteta, he frustrated Arteta in both games in the semi-final against Arsenal. So this game's going to be a tough, tricky game. So I'd be expecting like us for them to rest players, and expecting us to rest players. And I sort of get where you're coming from. Like, you know, sometimes people say, well, momentum, and I don't think we've been building enough momentum over the last couple of games. So someone would be saying maybe, you know, start your strongest team, you know, because a winning team breeds confidence and all. But I just think we're at a stage already now where we look tired. I thought we looked tired in the second half against Fulham, the likes of Bruno, the likes of Pogba. And I think we need them players to be, you know, fresh and ready to go in the Europa League. Because make no doubt about it, if we lose that game, which I'm not saying we will, but if we do, I think that'd be a disaster. Because we've been the favourites since we beat Milan. We're probably the favourites actually since we went into the actual competition. But when we beat AC Milan, the bookies made us the favourites, and every pundit around was saying, look, they should be winning it. So to get to the final shows you that they were sort of right. So, you know, to lose out to a team like Villarreal, I'm not saying they're not good, but again, if you're in it, you have to be winning, because I know for the fact that, just say the likes of Man City, if they were in the Europa League final with the squad that they had, there'd be no
asking, there'd be no question.
They just go out and do it.
Yeah, Glenn. I'm a little bit worried, to be honest, especially with Maguire gone.
That's huge, right?
A little bit worried. It is. They know it's huge. I mean, all they have to do, that's the thing, all they have to do is look at our last few games, like underperformance with a lot of players. So resting, like, I'm just not too sure about it. Like, I know what you're saying, the players are tired, but for 2 more games, I think you do need to build a bit of motivation. You need the players to be clicking together going into a match. We always kind of have we don't always, but we've seen some slow starts in some matches. I think a slow start in Europa League against Villarreal isn't going to go down too well, especially if you don't have Maguire in there and you're looking at Lindelof to hold the back four.
It's Roddy. It's more for me. It's more like, you know, Maguire has a huge miss. Right? We've seen that. We've not saying that, but like, where do we playing Rashford and where are we playing Pogba in this final? That's the question. Do you know that way? Like, how are we going to get the best out of both them players? I think, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Rashford's best position is coming off that left hand side, and I thought he built a good relationship with him and Luke Shaw during the season. They look dangerous, both of them going down that line. And I know Pogba's come into that position, and he's done all right in it as well, don't get me wrong. But are we going to sacrifice Rashford in that position to get Pogba into that position when we're not too sure what he's going to do? We'd rather see Pogba just play alongside McTominay in the middle and just go with our strongest side and play the players in their best positions. Do you know that way? Look, I know Pogba likes to have that free roll coming up the left and all, but in this game, I think that's the key, really. Because the balance in the side is not really right when you have Rashford playing on the right. You know, the way to go would be Rashford on the left, Greenwood on the right, Cavani through the middle, Bruno it's in the attacking midfield role, and Pogba and McTominay in the centre midfield positions to hold them positions. You know what I mean? And even saying that, Roddy, you could try and get Pogba higher up the pitch and just leave McTominay trying to hold.
I think you'll be in trouble there, Glenn.
No, I know, but I'm just saying to you, there would be times in that game where you'd be looking and saying to Pogba, go ahead, take a couple of risks, not straight away.
Oh, jeez, I wouldn't be saying that because they're big risks, like Villarreal, if they break him, McTominay's your only one.
But Roddy, look, I'm just saying, I'm only trying to give it a perspective of trying to get players into their best positions. I feel like if Pogba starts out on the left, then, you know, Rashford can't start. That's the way I look at it. Because he's not good coming off that right hand side.
To be honest, I'll be quite controversial here with you, Glenn. I don't see Ollie dropping Fred for putting Pogba in there. Just don't see it, especially with the back being a little bit weaker. What I would like to see is I think Rashford is stronger out on that left. So to be honest, I prefer to see Pogba not start. If
Really?
if it's going to be McFred in the middle, I would prefer Rashford out on that left wing because he does damage. You're right. That relationship with Shaw has done very well.
It's just the pure pace, and he loves to come in on
Mm.
that left hand and come in onto the right and get strikes off, or you'd have Greenwood then on the other side coming in, giving him the angles to try and play him through and all. But look, you're saying you'd like to, you can't see him dropping Fred. I tend to agree with you, already do. But I can't see him not starting Pogba. If you don't start Pogba, that throws up a load of other questions then, doesn't it? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if you can't start Pogba in a Europa League final, it's questions about his future is going to come up. And I just don't think, if things didn't work out the way we want them to work out, what would the questions be after the game, really? You know what I mean? It's just one of them. You'd have to ask yourself and say, what does Fred have to do not to start the game? So I mean, and I'm not going to turn around and say I don't like Fred, because I said before I do. He's not a United quality player. Like, I mean, it's not the player that we're used to seeing, really. His energy is tenacity. He gives it his all, but unfortunately, his all is not enough.
Yeah, he's
Do you know what I
in the
mean?
same category as Lindelof, not at the level of European
Yeah,
football or even top tier Premier League
yeah,
football.
not at Manchester United level. No, definitely not.
No, no.
But
I think you said
I
it
mean,
before. It'd be great at Newcastle or something,
yeah, he would be great at Newcastle.
Yeah,
Although
you
they
said that,
started to
Glenn.
do
You
all
said
right,
that.
like they did, yeah, didn't
But we get into predictions in a while, I suppose, about the Europa League final. More detail about what we'd like to see, but it looks like Juan Mata might head off this season, Glenn. 43 years
Did you
old.
say Juan Mata there, Rory? It sounded like you said
It's
Juan
Juan
Mata.
Mata.
Yeah, what are you
I'm not
saying
great
about?
with the pronunciations, you know that. But yeah, I'm just saying he's 33, Glenn. He's been in the Premier League for a number of years. Done a lot of stuff for United. I know you're very fond of him anyway. And Ray talks about him and what he does in the background. It's quite good for motivation within the team, especially with the younger players and that. Is it time for him to go?
Look, he's 33 at the same, so for his sake, maybe. You know what I mean? If you want to go out and finish off your career, and because they always say it, don't they? I think Fergie was saying it's the best part of your career is playing, so get as much football in as you can and all. So for his sake, yeah. It'd be sad to see him go, because I like him. I mean, he came into a United team that wasn't performing too well, and we've sort of been in a transition period since he's been at the club. But you look at some of the games he's played. The game at Anfield against Liverpool when Van Gaal was there, scoring 2 goals. The second one, an overhead kick, unbelievable. You look at what he did in the FA Cup final, scoring the equaliser when he did, real important goal. And he's just a genuinely nice bloke. You never hear anyone saying that bad about him. But
Yeah.
I mean, before the Leicester game, he hadn't started the game in the Premier League. I think it was since November, and he hadn't played in a Premier League game since February. So he's not too part of Ollie's plans, really. You know what I mean? Major plans. But if he's good around the dressing room, he's good for the youngsters, and he's happy with that, then yeah, you'd keep him around, because he doesn't create any sort of fuss. But again, where does he get in with the likes of Mata Jesus, Bruno and Pogba and all that? He doesn't really get in, and I think we could be seeing the end of Mata at the club. But I
Yeah.
think I'm not too sure if it's in his contract that he can come back as in an ambassador role or something. You know what I mean? If he was to leave, I'm not sure what way. I know there's something where he has something in his deal where he can be the ambassador when he if he retires or something like that. I'm not sure whether he has to be at United when he does that, or whether he can be anywhere. But if he did leave, you'd like to see him back in saying in the ambassadorial role at the club, because again, he's you never hear that bad about him and all. He never complains. You never hear him complain. I mean, you never hear
Yeah.
any bad stories about him. It's mad.
He seems
If
to
they were
always be
only all like that.
smiling. Yeah, I know. Like, he's not getting any of the press or any of that.
Yeah, never a bad word spoken. You look at when Herrera left. He wanted more money. Left because he couldn't get it, rightly or wrongly. I don't know. You know what I mean? Was he worth the money he wanted? 200 grand a week, I think it was. And you look at Mata, who accepted the deal that United put on the table. Not straight away, but he accepted it. I don't think he made too much of a fuss about it. So he obviously, has the club at heart. But whatever he does, me personally would be happy for him, whether that's going or whether he stays. Do you know what I mean? It's game
I suppose as his playing career probably peaked at Chelsea, would you say? Back in
that just goes back to the point I made.
Yeah.
That goes back to the point I made, Roddy, when he came into United under Moyes, I think in the January of that year, so what was it, 2013, 2014, January of that year, we were already really on Alex. The team was, you know what I mean, we were sort of, we were well out of the title race and all at that stage, and that would have been a transitional period then, but we're still in that in 2021. You know what I mean? He's never been in a great United team, and I think that's a pity, because I think if he had had him under Fergie, I think he would have flourished, and I think we would have flourished as well. But it just shows you what you said there. He peaked at Chelsea, won a Champions League with them. I think, did he win a league with them? I'm not too sure. Did he win a league under Mourinho? Did he? Oh, no, he didn't. He left. I think he left under Mourinho when that league was there. But look, he won a Champions League with them, and it just goes to show you, Chelsea fans, some of them are mad. You know what I mean? They hold grudges for players leaving to go to clubs like us, because they see us as rivals, because we have been over the years and still are. But when Mata goes back to Stamford Bridge, they don't boo him, man. I've never heard that anyway. You don't hear any Chelsea fans say anything bad about Mata. And again, it just shows you the type of person he is. But I just think it's unfortunate. He came to us. He came to us at the wrong time. Not for us, for him.
Yeah. Well, it's been 7 years now, and I suppose if you look at his caps to date, 15 to 20, he was playing regular football, and you can obviously see the dip now this year with 16 caps. Doesn't say a lot. What you say, 1 or 2 starts, was it there?
Yeah, I think he was. What was it? Hadn't started the game since November. Then played
2 goals.
February. But again, I think that goes back to what I was saying about despoiling the team and keeping the team together. That way, like, and not changing too much, because it was working to get us into the position we're in now. So I don't think you can have too many complaints about that. But next year he's a year older, Matt. It is. He never had the legs in the first place.
That's what happens, Glenn. A year later, a year older.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You blame bollocks, but it's just. I just don't think if he's not getting game time this season, then next season it'd be even worse for him, be even less for him, we'll say. So whatever he does anyway, I'd be behind him, and I know every United fan will be behind him, whether he goes or whether he stays. Yeah,
it's the same relationship probably, like you're saying, Chelsea fans have. If he goes and he comes back maybe next year playing for a different team, there's no love lost, But we might get into some predictions here, because I skipped through them now with the Wolves game. So you're thinking a kind of a second team start here. So I'll jump in my predictions first. I'd hope for a 1-1. I'd hope for the draw. We're looking at resting players. I'd hope for the draw. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull a Ray here and go. I was gonna go for that. I was gonna go for 1-1. But no, I'll go 0-0 actually, Roddy. I can't. I don't think he's going to make a lot of changes. Wolves haven't really been. I think Wolves have won 1 in the last 5 games. I think they were beaten by Burnley 4-0, if I'm not mistaken, in one of their 5 games. So they're not going to be. They're a tough team. They're well organised, but I reckon it'll be one of them games where it'll be 0-0. That's what I think. With the team that we're going to put out, if we put out the team we think we're going to put out, then we'll go for 0-0. I don't want to say defeat, but we'll go for 0-0.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, they beat Brighton 2-0 or 2-1. Sorry.
They were beaten by Everton all day, weren't they?
Yeah, Spurs, Everton in the last game, and they're not scoring. Glenn, is the thing, and they haven't been really scoring all year. It's 1 and 2 goals here and there. I mean, I think Traore up front is quite a good player. I'm surprised he hasn't scored more, actually, to be honest. He did have an injury.
Roddy, I don't know about that now. In my opinion, I just think all he is just solid muscle, and he's so unbelievable pace. But when he gets into goal scoring positions or when he's in a position to put a decent ball in, he never does. Look, I think Wolves have done great, you know what I mean, since they come into the Premier League. I think one of these seasons is just a season where, teams, they probably need something to freshen them up, really, you know what I mean, whether that's a player or two coming in.
Yeah.
And I think, Raúl Jimenez, got that head injury. I think it was against Arsenal, and he's not a prolific striker, but he definitely adds to their armory, and links play up well, and has that threat up front they don't really have now. You know what I mean? But we've been linked with that player Pedro Neto.
He's actually injured at the moment, isn't he?
Who?
Neto.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've been linked with him. And he's done all right in the Premier League. He's he's only young. I think he's 21 or 22. So you know what I mean. They do have decent quality in that side. But as you said, Rory, I just think the Wolves are at a stage this season where things need to be freshened up a little bit. They're safe. You know what I mean. They consolidate themselves in the Premier League for another season, and that's I think they just want the season to be over. Nothing to play for, nothing to gain from that. So, I can see it being one of them games where you're just dying for it to be over, really. I can't wait for this game to come on because I just say it nil. I think it's written all over it.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's a draw, because I mean, if we're coming out with a loss going into Europa final, even if our first team starts or not, man, it's not good news. You know what I mean? In my opinion.
Look, it's not good news, Rory. But I mean, in a final, it's a one-off game. You know that yourself, and it can happen. You could be going into a final after being unbeaten in 10 or 12 games or something like that. You know what I mean?
You could lose.
It can happen. But ideally, you would like to be going into the game with a little bit of a spring in your step. But that's why I think, Rory, from what I said about resting players, because if you go into the Wolves game with full strength side and you don't get the result that you should be getting, does that have an effect then going into your Europa League final where nothing seems to be clicking? Or do you just rest these players and say, right, it's a brand new team going out, really give the young kids a chance? I think you go back to 2017, Mourinho done that. Last game of the season against Palace, he put a load of youngsters out and won the game. I think 2-1. I think it was, and we went on to win the Europa League against Ajax. So something similar wouldn't be a bad thing to do. But the problem is you just don't know what Ollie's going to do. That's the thing. Reading in situations like this, you don't know what way the team's going to go. But I'd like to see the likes of Ahmed and Alanga getting another goal, because I think that young fella Ahmed Rory's doing all right. He looks dangerous when he's on. He's done a couple of good things in the games or the time that he's gotten on the pitch. I mean, he's done I was reading a couple of comments online again today, and there's people there saying, Ahmed's done more in the minutes he's been given than the likes of say Van der Beek. You know what I mean? Which you can't argue with either. So to see that you hopefully get another shot, another start in the Premier League only helps us going forward. Because I definitely think he's a player in there. And the same with that young fella Alanga. Although he didn't do that well against Leicester, give him another shot. Throw him in there. Freshen
That's it. It's about giving these players shots, Glenn. You're right. We've said it before. Glenn, we've hurdled through a lot of topics there. I suppose there will be a match reaction again on Sunday.
Yeah.
With yourself and Ray probably. And then we'll look to talk about that Champions League, I wish. Europa League final. That's what I should be saying, Glenn, to be honest.
Well, no, that's what we should be saying.
Yeah, and we'll have a look at that. So we might leave it there. Thanks for listening. This is the Devil's Bit podcast. You can get us on Facebook and Twitter at the Devil's Bit, and Instagram as well. Tune in. We give a bit of detail about history and the history of the club, and we get into a bit of detail just about what's going on in the news around Old Trafford and that as well. And we always love to hear your comments and engage with you that way. So listen, we'll talk to you soon, and thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, see you later, man.